How you doing, y'all? And welcome to the spoiler review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, before I get into the spoiler review, can we just take a minute and just talk about how insane the box office weekend the Brand New Day is having? Because it's fucking bananas. Now, we knew this movie was going to be a huge success, but this is some next level shit. Let's be honest here. I mean, it might beat No Way Home, which is insane. So, congratulations to the Sony Bros. It's well earned. It's a great movie. Now let's get into talking about it. Now, first off, I want to get into talking about the thing I couldn't talk about at all in my non-spoiler review, which was Jean Grey. Yes, they made an X-Men hero into a Spider-Man villain in this movie, which is something I don't think anyone saw coming. And I honestly have no idea how they even came up with this. It was like Kevin Feige walked up to the writers and be like, can we put Jean in this movie somehow? And then the writers went back, came up with an idea, and they went back to Feige and was just like, hey, what about Jean as the villain? And somehow it worked out magnificently. Honestly, I think she's one of the best villains they've ever done in the MCU, which is crazy to say. I also want to say Jean Grey is more interesting to me in this movie than she's ever been in any other iteration before. I really enjoyed the fact that she's got a real chip on her shoulder, and for very understandable reasons. Like, her mother abandoned her and her sister, and then her sister got kidnapped by a bunch of people that hate her for what she is. I'm just saying, usually when people go through something like that, they don't come out of it an optimist. At least it takes them a long time to get out of a negative space. So that's what I really enjoyed, and I kind of hope they further explore that in the next X-Men movie. I mean, they have Bill Metzger. They had Spider-Man create the whole power dampener thing. They have Jean Grey. I mean, there were so many setups for this next X-Men movie, and I honestly can't wait to see them get into it. I'm assuming it's coming out 2028, and it can't come here fast enough. I'm excited. Probably my favorite moment with Jean Grey is at the end where Spider-Man's fighting all the ninjas. My favorite scene with her in the entire movie, it might be my favorite scene in the entire movie. I don't know. It's between that and the Hulk battle, is her mind controlling all the hand ninjas and her taking control of like half the city. I thought they executed both the action and drama of that scene very nicely. Job well done. Now, the next thing I want to get into is The Punisher. Now, I saw this movie twice. I put my review up after that first viewing, and I had some nitpicks going on with The Punisher. Really, it's been going on since before this movie ever happened, but I had some issues with how The Punisher was handled, especially from adapting him from the comic. But after the second time watching this movie, I gotta admit, I was sitting there watching all the scenes with him, and I kind of had to admit to myself, I'm like, he might be the best part of this movie. I really love the big brother, little brother dynamic that Punisher and Spider-Man had, especially with the scene where they're fighting the Hulk. It was so funny. One of my favorite moments in the entire movie is when Jean is watching the security footage, and it's just Spider-Man and Punisher arguing like brothers. Like, zero audio, all you see is their body movement and gestures, and you could just tell they're just arguing like two little siblings. It was so funny. I also love that they really poked fun at Jon Bernthal's bark, which is just one of the most over-top, ridiculous things like he's ever done. But it works, it's entertaining. But like, I remember rewatching the second season of The Punisher a few years ago, and I was laughing every goddamn time he barked. And it's just comedy gold. The Punisher wearing Spider-Man's mask and him just going, ooh. And can we just take a moment to talk about how fucking epic that battle was between Spider-Man, Punisher battling the Hulk? I mean, come on. I feel like some of the true magic of the MCU is seeing characters you would never expect to see together being together. And when they manage to pull it off, it's just movie magic. There's no other way I can say it. Now time to talk about the man we all went to go see, Spider-Man. Now, Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man. I loved his entire trilogy. Yes, even Far From Home, I thought it was great. And to this day, I still think the Spider-Man franchise is the strongest franchise the MCU has. And I know people recently have been talking some shade on the old Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, like that entire trilogy, calling him like Iron Man Jr. But the truth is, I think if we would have gotten a more traditional Spider-Man movie like we had with this one right out the gate, I don't think it would have been nearly as successful. I think those other movies had to have been made first in order for this movie to have been the success it has become. Honestly, I think people would have complained if they just went right out the gate with it being more like the Maguire or Garfield movies. I also think they handled bringing in MJ and Ned back into the fold perfectly. I gotta admit, the second I saw that note, I'm like, that is 1,000% how she's going to find out that they have a history together. And I was right. I'm happy to see him and MJ didn't kiss. Well, like the real MJ and him didn't kiss. I know Jean mind controls her at one point in the movie, but I really appreciate the very end of the movie how Ned finds out through their, like, you know, magic handshake that they do, and he realizes in that moment, and then they cut it off right there. Because I was kind of hoping they wouldn't just like rush right back to their relationship, and they didn't, and I was so happy. Also, I want to give a shout out for this movie. New York City has never felt more like New York City in an MCU movie before. They did a perfect job, and it's even all the more impressive that they shot this entire movie in Europe. Like during the one Scorpion fight, he literally goes right through a Joe's Pizza sign, which is a famous spot in New York City. I just want to say it was really cool. They really felt like New York City. I appreciate it. I also want to give a shout out to the director, Destin Daniel Cretton, I believe his name is. He has made, in my opinion, some of the best villains in the entire MCU. With not Mandarin in Shang-Chi and now with Jean in Spider-Man. I honestly hope this man just goes on making MCU movies for the rest of his life. I know he probably won't want to do that, and that's fine, but I mean, every time he seems to touch one of these properties, it's just magic. So hope to see him stick around and do other properties as well. Shit, maybe he'll do an Avengers movie someday. I know he was originally supposed to, but I would love to see it. And a question for you guys. Do you feel like the MCU is returning to form? I know Captain America, the one with Sam Wilson, kind of shit the bed. But I really love Deadpool and Wolverine, Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, and now this. And I'm feeling extremely confident about Avengers Doomsday, probably more so than others, but I really think if they really do pull it off with Avengers, I really think Marvel's back, and I think they're going to be top dog once again. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that good shit. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Take care.